Hello and welcome back to the show, World War II Books Where to Start. I'm your host, Air Marshal Hugh Dowding, here in my luxurious office at Bentley Priory, home of Fighter Command. And today we're going to do all things Battle of Britain in a multimedia presentation, the likes of which the Western world has never seen. Summer 1940, Britain's on the ropes, been thrown out of the continent, France has surrendered, and the Germans are coming. What do you do next? We got Spitfires and Hurricanes versus ME-19s, DE-17s, Ju-88s, HE-111s, ME-110s, and Ju-87s. That's a lot of numbers there. Fantastic stuff. And let's get to it. All things multimedia, I said, yes, we're going to start first with board games. World War II is a great source of material for war games and board games in general. And I found over a dozen board games dedicated to the Battle of Britain. These are all going to be 1v1, obviously, somebody playing the Brits, somebody playing the Germans, and a battle for air supremacy. And went back all the way to 1968. It was the first one I could find on Board Game Geek. Only one or two of these are in print now. They do not tend to stay in print very long. Air battles, board games, war games, for some reason, not the most popular thing. The land battles are what stays in print the most. But just quickly running down some titles here. RAF Battle of Britain 1940. The Burning Blue Battle of Britain 1940. Undaunted Battle of Britain. Battle of Britain from 2017. Battle of Britain from 1990. Blood Red Skies from 2017. Battle of Britain 1983. Wings of Glory 2017. That one might still be in print. Eagle A. Battle of Britain 2012. The First Battle of Britain, World War I, 2009. Battle of Britain 1968. And Battle of Britain 1975. So that's a plethora of material on it. So they keep reiterating over and over. Undaunted Battle of Britain is the most recent. It's the part of the Undaunted series. And if you're into deck building, you might want to check that one out. So that's just board games. And then we also have some music represented. There's two bands I know have done Battle of Britain songs, Sabaton and the mighty, mighty Iron Maiden. And that's the one I love so much, Ace is High. Check that out. I'm not allowed to play it, obviously, for copyright issues, but hey, can't have it all. And then, just quickly, some movies. I won't go into detail on these, but just throw them at you here. This is an oldie. Let's cover that nonsense up. The One That Got Away from 1957, starring Hardy Kruger, black and white. This is kind of their version of The Great Escape, but it's only one guy getting out of a POW camp in Canada. He tries a couple escapes in Britain and gets caught, but once he gets to Canada, he pulls it off and gets to a neutral United States and works his way back to Germany. The end credit at the end, the little text board said it was based on a true story, and that once he got back, he was put back in combat, and his plane suffered an unknown damage, injury, casualty of some sort, and just nosedived into the sea. I don't know whether that's true or not. I haven't checked up on it or not, but it's watchable. It's kind of cool for post-war black and white stuff. Pretty cool. And then the most famous one, simply titled The Battle of Britain, 1969, with a cast of stars. This is well worthwhile. Still holds up pretty well today. A lot of great air combat in here, much better than the atrocious Dunkirk movie of recent fame. Can't stand that thing. Battle of Britain's where you want to go for a good British air dogfight. And then a very obscure one, First Light. This was like 2003 or so. The story of Jeff Wellum. Boy, Wellum. It's fantastic. At a very short running time of 80 minutes, it really it just punches you in the face for the emotional stuff. And what's cool is they have Jeff Wellum in 2002, whatever, doing some voiceovers, some on-screen appearances for some commentary interspersed with the film itself. Not a docudrama. This is really still a feature film, but it's a nice little touch. I like the way they did that. That one might be tough to find. I think it is no longer a distribution, but you can get all of it used. And then on to the prime attractions, the books. So I compiled a big stack of these things for this video, and I'll just go over a few that I got from the library, but have not read just for lack of time. And there's so much of this I can take in a row. So we'll just mention these real quick, just to show you the plethora of material available. Stephen Mugay, The Most Dangerous Enemy, A History of the Battle of Britain. That's around 2000. The Battle of Britain, The Myth and the Reality. Richard Overy, also from around 2000. Richard Overy, not one of my favorite writers. He's definitely a B/C tier guy. Thinks very well of himself, and I don't agree with a lot of his conclusions from another book I read as. And then Alex Kershaw, The Few. This is the Americans involved in the BOB. Alex Kershaw, unfortunately, also one of my C-list guys, definitely C-list guys, just a bottom dweller as far as writing ability and talent and drama. Don't like him much. I would not probably read that myself for any reason. And then A Summer Bright and Terrible by David E. Fisher. This is more like a pseudo bio of Lord Doubting and his peculiarities during the Battle of Britain, and trying to tell it from a slightly different viewpoint. I did poke my nose into that one. The right is kind of smarmy and smart alecky, British sardonic class, class shaming, whatever you want to call it, right away, right off the bat. So I'm like, it might be tolerable, it might be not, but I'm kind of interested for a different angle on it. And then a couple of memoirs I've touched on in other videos at length, so I'll just mention them here. Reach for the Sky by Paul Bricko, not really not really a memoir, it's kind of a bio of Douglas Bader, I'm not sure how you say it. Essential reading. And Fly for Your Life by Larry Forrester about Robert Stanford Tuck. Really love this one. It's undervalued. It's out of print. You should run out and get it. All right, and then on to the main attraction. So we'll start off with Wings Like Eagles, Michael Korda, History of the Battle of Britain. I think this is from 2009, but it could be wrong, it could be earlier. I read it probably a decade ago, so I don't remember a whole lot about it, and really didn't really refresh my memory for this one. I thought it passable at the time. No frills, not a whole lot to hold on to memory-wise, obviously, but it did stick in my. I just didn't remember the title, so I guess it's cool. This is bare bones, probably 300 pages, roundabout. So quick in and out. If you just want the essentials or just a starter kit for what is the Battle of Britain, there you go. Wings Like Eagles. And then on to the first of our lovelies here today. First Light by the aforementioned Jeff Willem. Top 10 bestseller. This is a recent publication, 0304, somewhere around there. Jeff Willem just passed away, I believe, last year, or maybe the year before, very recently, at the ripe old age. Battle of Britain pilot, went on for a while for a raging sinus infection, finally knocked him out in Malta. And he spent the rest of the war in training command, I believe, and stayed in the RAF until the 60s, doing test pilot stuff for jets. So he made quite a career of it. He was lucky to survive, and this is a really emotional first-hand account of the Battle of Britain and his learning to fly, his training at OTC, the weirdness of being like a 19-year-old officer, not knowing how to act, not quite knowing how to fit in, despite a public school background. He never quite felt the equal of the other pilots in the squadron. He never quite felt like he really fit in, was one of the gang. He was really shy and introverted and unsure of his abilities, even though he loved flying the Spitfire and was good enough to survive, although he attributes that as much as anything to luck and just fate, as a lot of pilots did. He never really felt like he had the mastery of the air. Did not make ace. He had 2 or 3 confirmed kills. But he did a lot of combat flying and was completely burned out, like all those guys were at the end of Battle of Britain. They had to keep going. The RAF just did not rotate people like the U.S. service did, both the Navy and the Army Air Corps. The Brits just did not believe in it. You flew until you got killed, or just went kaflooey one day and lost your mind. And Jeff Willem was probably on the edge of it. The sinus infection probably saved him from going kaflooey. He was really close to a nervous breakdown if he didn't actually suffer one afterwards. I don't know. The movie First Light says in the end credits that he did suffer a nervous breakdown. The book, he does not say that. He just says he was taken out of Malta because unable to fly because of the infection. So take that for what you will. This is really emotional and visceral, and just puts you in the aircraft with him, and the dirty weather and the struggle to survive, and the chaos of combat, and the surreal nature of fighting for your life 3 or 4 times a day, and then going to the bar every night to drink it off and mix in with the public. How surreal that was for a British pilot to go through, especially at 19 years old. It's a lot. Now, the way I could have done it, I would have cracked up the first day. Even if I did have good vision and could have been a pilot, I would have never made it. Very much worthwhile. First Light. And then a heavy duty classic, the Battle of Britain, the greatest air battle of World War II, Richard Howe and Dennis Richards. This is from 1989. To the tune of about 350 pages main body text. This is really professionally done. Richard Howe was a pilot himself and did fly a Hurricane. Although I don't think in the war, but he does mention he got to fly a Hurricane at some point. This is heavy duty. We got charts and diagrams. We have a lot of background on the machines, the men, the technology, all fitting together. A brief summary of the campaign in the West before the Battle of Britain, and then on to the events of the summer itself. He really talks up the RAF in the between war years and their development and fighting for funding and making sure they remain independent service, free of the Royal Navy and the Army, and how crucial it was to their survivability and their functionality as an effective separate arm Air Force, as well as radar developments. The British Pioneer Radar, and they called it RDF until the American acronym took over in 1944. So they were the pioneers here, and they really had to fight their way forward to make it happen. From the idea of starting out, can we make a death beam to zap pilots in the sky and just make them conk out dead in their aircraft? Well, no, we can't do that, but we might be able to find them using radio somehow. Humble origins of radar. Pretty cool stuff. These two guys are really professional and thoroughgoing. They expect you to be as intelligent as they are. They do not talk down to you. They do not soften anything or dumb anything down. They expect you to keep up. It's like a college course, So I don't mean to say it's academic in style and writing, but today, compared to today's soft authors who want to dumb everything down for you and hold your hand, this is a completely different experience. So I appreciate the old school method here very, very much. And that's really worthwhile, still in print in some formats. Battle of Britain, Richard Howe, Dennis Richards. And then Fighter Boys, Patrick Bishop, Battle of Britain, 1940, 2007, I believe, and clock in around the 400-page mark for main body. And as it kind of ended, the title is what it is, Fighter Boys. Just talk about the British pilots, their stories, their backgrounds, their parents, their girlfriends, their wives, the WAFs working in the fighter direction centers. There's one particular story of a woman dating a pilot who was working in the Fighter Direction Center, and she vectored her boyfriend's squadron onto a gaggle of Germans one day, and he went down in the drink, and it was dead, and she had to just carry on and do her duty. It's that kind of visceral and kind of fist to the face, heart-rending stories. It's really tight focus just on the pilots and the camaraderie and the combat and the pilot fatigue. So it's very emotional, and it's a slow read. Take it slowly. Pretty decent photo section with all the stars of the Battle of Britain, and pilots. That's one thing about the BOB is that there's just one way to really tell it in linear style. You really can't get too far outside the box and do different takes and aspects of it. It's pretty much an A, B, C, D, E, F, G affair. So within that, every Battle of Britain is going to kind of be samey. Just a matter of where the focus is in a particular area. You can't do things like D-Day, like focus just on the Germans or just on the amphibious operation or on the Luftwaffe versus American Air Force or the various divisions and beaches. This is one kind of inclusive kit and caboodle kind of thing, and you kind of have to tell it the same way no matter who the author is. So that's got, for variety's sake, it's just not there for Battle of Britain. But Fighter Boys is really good close-up on the pilots. And then really briefly, Mr. James Holland, Battle of Britain, 5 months to change history, made in October 40, 614 pages or so, main body text, just released in 2016, I believe. I'll do a short rant here, and then y'all can cut out unless you want to hear the long rant, because this has about 1,001 problems. So he's Captain Cliche. It's embarrassing. He dumbs things down. It's embarrassing. It's kind of a scatterbrained approach. He's inconsistent with titles and ranks of German German officers. He uses German first names, like we're supposed to know these guys, like they're our next door neighbors, which is a very odd approach I've never seen before. Photo section, excellent. This is kind of a deluxe edition. Cover art's fantastic. I rate this 1 out of 5. I couldn't stand it. That's the short rant. Thanks for watching. Give me a like and subscribe and a comment. If you want to hang around and hear the long rant, be my guest. Sit down, grab your drink, because here we go. All right, for those who are still here, let's get down and dirty with this guy. So I said Captain Cliche. I mean it too. I counted 48 and listed 48 different cliches he uses again and again. And I probably missed a few or let a few slide. 48. That is ridiculous. You're not a good writer if you do that. You're just not a good writer. You're writing nonfiction. Stop it. Just stop it. You need a copy editor or an editor in-house to stand up to you and say, this is trash, rewrite this. You can do better. You need to do better. I presume you have a college education because you're on YouTube, you're on History Channel, you're a famous author, you sell copy like crazy. But this is terrible, terrible sloppy writing to use these kind of juvenile cliches over and over again as a professional adult writer. You have to do better in 2023 or 2016 when this is published. You have to. There's a ginormous overclaim at the end of the book that the Battle of Britain, winning it, saved the world from Nazism. Really? You did it all by your lonesome. Good job, guys. No, this is ludicrous. It's flag waving for the British home public, who is the main market for this book. But just stop. That's embarrassing too. Terrible. He covers the entire Western campaign from start to finish, excluding Norway. For whatever reason, he could throw on another 200 pages in the book. What the hell? Why stop now? The entire Western campaign. The title says Battle of Britain. Now, it's normal for authors to cover the hurricane squadrons during the Sitzkrieg and during the French campaign. It's normal for authors to walk it back until we get to July of 40 and then go main event. I get that. But no, he covers the land campaign and hardly mentions the hurricane squadrons fighting in France. He covers the land campaign. If you want to do that, write another book about it. Oh, wait a minute, he did. It's called The Rise of Germany, The War in the West, Volume 1. I read that. It's awful, too. So this is just simply outlandish. As I said before, first names for German pilots on a cozy, I'm getting to know you basis. I don't think I've ever seen any author do this for a deep battle study of this kind. Maybe in a biography of a particular individual German combatant. But not like this, not like we're supposed to know these guys, like we're next door neighbors, like hey, can I borrow your lawnmower today, Uli, Dolfo? No, no, it's the wrong tone, it's the wrong message. Inconsistent use of German ranks. He makes a big deal in the preface about using German ranks and abbreviations for their Air Force and Army. They had to differentiate them from British ranks, and then he's inconsistent. He uses colonel a couple times. He uses captain a couple times. Again, where's your editor? Just knock it off. U-boats. Yeah, U-boats. He works in the U-boat war. In a particular case, Gunther Preen in U-47. It's got nothing to do with the Battle of Britain, not even the slightest, but he works in the war against trade and the sinking ships and runs through the tonnage totals for ships sunk in June, July, August, September 40. Keeps coming back to it over and over again. This is just nonsense. And we have to have a happy ending with the U-boat war, so he has to cover all the way up till Preen, Shepke, and the other guy are all killed in one convoy battle over space of 2 days. Had to have a happy ending there. He's got to make sure you know the bad guys die. Okay, we get it. But it doesn't belong here in the first place. The Battle of Britain, this maritime content, is strictly the channel convoy battles, not the deep sea Atlantic convoys. So this is just terrible overreach again. It's unbelievable, the hubris of this guy. And what do I want to do? Oh yeah, dumbing down, which I just mentioned Richard Howe does not do. This guy does it, to use a cliche, in spades. he dumbs down a lot of events. The particular one that sticks in my mind is talking about the narrow window of time a Stuka pilot has to decide to release his bomb versus the chance of hitting his target. I think it said it was like 1.5 seconds or something. And if he increases speed, or the ship increases speed, whatever the target jigs or jags, whatever, and narrows it down to half second or a third of a second. In other words, it's very difficult to hit. No, really? I didn't get that. Could you run that by me one more time? I'm a little confused. Can you draw pictures on chalkboard for me? So this is just garbage. First class garbage. Like I said, I'm not going to dent his sales by ranting and raving like this. He's a very popular author. I don't get it. I don't get it. He's insulting you at every turn, and he's a bad writer on top of that, and just egregious overreach. Oh, it's just hideous. Just hideous. I am very, very deeply ashamed I bought this book. Or I should say I regret it deeply. Maybe not ashamed, but I regret it deeply. It's awful. So that's my rant and rave for Battle of Britain. I hope some of the aforementioned titles catch your fancy, catch your interest. And if you're a board gamer, check out Undaunted. Battle of Britain might be worth your while if you're a gamer. And until next time, I hope I have a happier experience for you, or a happier author to talk about. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and we'll do another topic another time. Until then, I am Lord Hugh Downing. I'm going to do a seance and talk to some dead pilots. Have a good one.